Thank you, Faro team, for giving this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jafar Ismail. I will be presenting my research paper, the topic of impact of utility works in road projects in Sri Lanka and proposed mitigation measures. My co-authors were Professor Lalit D. Silva and Dr. Anuradha Waidyasekera. And my presentation outline goes like this. And background, in any country, performance of construction industry is known as the barometer of economic development. In Sri Lanka, in the recent past, construction industry has contributed approximately 7 to 9% to the GDP. Having said that, we do have serious challenges and issues related to the infrastructure segment of the construction industry, and this research addresses those challenges and issues and as well as remedial measures. Utilities, water, electricity, and gas are generally defined as essential amenities that are important to the economy and development of society. In UK, there was a research carried out, and the results reveal that when excavating a carriageway to create a trench can decrease its structural life by up to 30%, which is quite alarming. So that will increase the maintenance budget and also reduce the life of road structures. Key factors affecting the effect of utility works, including the complexity of projects, lack of information on underground utilities, lack of experienced contractors, and lack of knowledge on local regulation. Approximately 30 to 35% from the allocated funds for the road works are transferred towards unforeseen utility related works. This is quite alarming. A sizable one-third portion taken away from the proposed scope, which means it is a serious impact on our infrastructure development as well as also the economy. Developed countries such as US, Canada, European nations, Australia, and New Zealand do have well articulated laws and regulation to regulate the laying of most utilities on road reserve. Research problems. Road projects are experiencing huge delays in Sri Lanka due to utility relocation, design changes, price escalation, and land acquisition. We are going to discuss mostly about issues with the utility relocation and betterment works in this presentation. Delay in completion of roads projects due to utility relocation is the second highest ranked factor in Sri Lanka. So this in itself shows the importance in dealing with utility relocation and betterment works, which is the causing serious contractual implication. Hence, multiple contractual implications are experienced due to time extension, prolongation cost, arbitration cost, and so on. No sound legislation that exists defining powers, rights, and obligation of road and utility authorities. Further, due to government and political pressure, road and infrastructure projects were tendered and awarded in the absence of finding out the details of underground utilities. So this will result in no sooner the contractor mobilizes, he has to do trial pits and then find out where the underground utilities, which will result in variations, time extension, and other contractual complications. Further, due to governmental and political issues, the projects were also not awarded prior to land acquisition, which is also a matter which takes sometime couple of years. So this is another serious matter. And on the other hand, utility projects were awarded when road works were nearing completion. This is particularly applicable to donor-funded projects because of lack of coordination, communication. Projects were not carried out simultaneously, and then we end up disturbing the or excavating the newly laid carriageways. Aims and objective. The aim of this research is to investigate remedial measures to mitigate impacts of utility works during design and construction of road projects. Objectives of the study, firstly, to examine utility works arrangement of road projects in developed countries. Secondly, to investigate the impact of utility work during road construction projects in Sri Lanka. Thirdly, to identify and recommend remedial measures to resolve the impacts. The right of way, this is to illustrate what is a right of way. Is a parcel of land between plot line to plot line, which has carriageways, bus lane, parking, sometimes elevated metro landscape. Underneath, we find utilities on either side of the carriageways. Literature finding. Utility works implementation during road works. Utilities in Europe are private and occupy public right-of-ways. In England, the utility companies pay 18% and highway agencies pay 82%. Developed countries, including Australia and New Zealand, are also applying co-sharing measures for relocation or betterment work. In United States, utility companies pay 100% relocation cost. So this provide us information that there is co-sharing practice available, very well available in the developed countries, which is the reason they were able to complete the projects without any claims or other complications. And there is something called utility advisory group do exist in US, Australia, New Zealand, and UAE, which is represented by the senior staff members of this organization. They do meet on regular intervals and discuss design and construction conflicts between utility and road projects. This is by way of doing so, they resolve many issues and end up in a win-win situation to complete the projects well on time within their budget. Utility service providers also sometimes insist on using their consultant contractors to carry out the work instead of road contractors being given to execute, and their contractor charge utility providers significantly higher than the rates of road contractor. Research methodology, qualitative research method adapted through inductive process by selecting purposive samples of experts for semi-structured in-depth interviews conducted with key team leaders, experts of road utility authorities, and other applicable government agencies within Western province of Sri Lanka. The interviewed participants were highly experienced practitioners representing their field enriched by new information. On the other hand, through this research, identified their current co-sharing practices, shortcomings, and gaps. More data were collected through documents reviews from Sri Lanka and international to make this study much more elaborated. Research finding, current practices, contractors were compelled to carry out trial pits to locate existing location of their services because of as-built drawings were not available in most of the occasions with the utility agencies. Site inspection by authorities were not done on regular basis. There are no overall long-term agreement in place among the road and utility authorities. All what they have is an ad hoc agreement, and which is not resolving all the issues, overall issues, and it is a time-consuming affair as well. Project owners are responsible for payment of relocation charges and or betterment of utility works because there were no co-sharing agreement and lack of communication and coordination. Research finding continued, lack of coordination, communication between utility authorities, and we discussed they do not possess on most occasion as-built drawings, no MOU to share common utility corridor, and absence of co-sharing agreement between utility and road authorities, no corridor share agreement, and corridor reserve provision right of way. Existing legal provisions are not amended in keeping with the current trend, misconception, mistrust, excessive delays in approval, single corridor utilization through ample provision, which is in Japan, we have a single overhead uh, pole which provide overhead electricity and street lighting cables and sometime telecom cable also. So which is what the common corridor sharing and utility have coordinated their works in an accepted manner. Impacts due to current issues, project delay, cost implication, time implication, public protest and strike due to environmental and land acquisition matters, litigation, sharp increase in maintenance cost, and in the absence of agreed standard reserve utility corridors, extensive damage caused to carriageways, and delays in execution of work and disruption to traffic and public inconvenience. And research finding continued, enter into cost share agreement, cohesive planning and sharing of information like lesson learned from the past projects, introduce required regulation, introduce code of practice, establishment of national utility and road coordination entity which we dealt earlier, sign MOU between concerned authorities, developing accurate utility service records, develop common corridor concept, establish dedicated division or department to deal with these cases, undertake land acquisition process prior to project approval. So conclusion and recommendation to study, identify current practices, issues and impacts in current utility works in road projects. It is proposed uh, the remedial measures to mitigate impact of utility works to achieve common goal, providing best value for money solution. The study revealed that advanced implementation of pre-construction utility shifting and or under the current RDA and National Thoroughfare Act provision in the law, both should be implemented prior to commencement of road projects. Importance of establishing new organization, which we dealt earlier, National Utility and Road Coordination Entity representing road and utility authorities, and it is recommended to development of collaboration methodology to tackle better cooperation with road and utility authorities. And that brings the end of my presentation. Uh, if there is any question, welcome to raise them and appreciate for your patient listening. Thank you very much.